Welcome to SAP ALM Summit 2021. You're in a fourth session within the services and support track, and I'm your host, Sharat, who will be sort of moderating this session. Nicola will be taking us through the entire session, including the Q&A. And as mentioned, I think if you have any questions during the session, please feel free to put them through the Q&A panel, and we'd be more than happy to take them towards the end of the session. So Nicola is here. I don't think I need to introduce him, but yeah, pretty much the name when it comes to test management in ALM for SAP. So he's been with SAP since a long time. He's been in many roles, including consulting and development, right from way back 2000, 2002, he joined SAP.
Don't mention it. Don't say it.
And I mean, obviously, Nicola, your experience when it comes to customers, I mean, the big ones, Nestle, Shell, BMW, I mean, name it. I mean, I think you've done your consulting bit there. And now when it comes to product management, your expertise in the topic, as well as taking it with partners like Tricentis and other test automation solutions, I think that's a hallmark. So very happy to have you in this session, and all yours.
Well, thanks, Arad, for the nice introduction. You almost made me blur, so thank you for that. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here today. I hope that you have enjoyed the summit so far. It's the last session before the wrap-up. I hope that you had great content, also great fun, although it's a remote event. I hope you could still enjoy some exchanges with the people remotely still. All right, so, sorry, mistake, sharing was stopped. I'll just bring it back right away. So as Sharat said, I'm going to tell you about cloud management, test management in SAP Cloud ALM. I'm looking at the list of participants. It's a fairly small session today. It's the last one, as I said. So what I'm going to do is that I'll take you through the slides, I would say, fairly quickly. I will spend a fair amount of time in the system doing demo, and then we try to open up for QA quite early, right? So that we have time. Also, maybe we can also unmute people if you want to have direct exchanges. I don't have any problem with that, so I think we can also go down this direction. Let's get going with a presentation then. There's a legal disclaimer because some of the things that I'm going to talk about are forward-looking. So these are non-binding statements and so on and so on. You know the situation, but we don't have to get too long on this. The agenda, quick Cloud ALM overview, and then I'll go into the test management concepts for manual and automated testing. And then, as I said, deep dive demo and question and answers. All right. So, I mean, I think you've seen that a lot. You know about it. 2 points from this slide. Really, the fact that Cloud ALM is a cloud native product, right? In fact, you know, as a customer, maybe you don't care, right? The important point for me is that for it being cloud native, you have no maintenance to do on it pretty much. So you consume it very easily with little effort in terms of maintenance, little to no effort in terms of maintenance, right? So it's really something that's key going forward. Solution Manager is a fantastic tool. Used to be able to do, or is still able to do, you know, million things. But this, you know, rich amount of feature and rich capabilities of customizing and, you know, making it really a customized ALM solution also made it complex at times, right? And this is not the same approach with Cloud ALM. So it's much simpler to begin with. We'll enrich in the future, but we start, you know, with a very simple, straightforward approach. It's cloud native, so you don't have any maintenance, and also the way we deliver. I mean, and for me, that's the key topic, right? We'll deliver to you on a bi-weekly basis, right? Every other week, we can deliver new features as soon as they are ready, as soon as all the product standards are fulfilled, also as soon as the test is done and compliant, then we can release the feature, right? So it's really, for us, I've also seen some friends' names in the list of participants who know that, right? It's really great to be able to deliver, you know, features, functionalities to our customers at such a pace and in such an easy way, right? Without having to wait for 6 months for an SP to be ready to be able to deliver it. It's changing, you know, for you, but also for us. And I really love it. I really love it. And the last point that I will make here is that Cloud ALM is included in RISE, right? So every customer going for a RISE contract is entitled to use Cloud ALM, right? So it's also provisioned directly with RISE, so you can really leverage it easily and get a feel for it at no cost. All right, I'll skip this one. You know it. The implementation side of a house: design, build, test, and deploy, and the operation side: detect, analyze, correct, and automate. This is known slide. No need to spend hours on that. It's about the same thing, right? Really, the way we integrate and the way we operate. I can skip that as well. And finally, one point that I will make here. Give me a second. I need to move the widgets from the screen. Here we go. The onboarding is something also that is really key for us. We made tons of efforts on the way you can onboard in Cloud ALM. It's a much simpler process. The tenant gets provisioned for you automatically in 10 to 15 minutes, and you can get going. And when you have the RISE contract, sometimes it's there already from the start, so you have nothing to do. So it's really different ways of working, different ways of thinking compared to the past, to the on-premise world. All right, let's go to the concepts in test management. As I said, we want to take a simple, and here I call that lean approach. We start with simple concepts, and we don't want to bring any, unneeded complexity overhead. And some customers already reached out to me and say, what about this? What about this? What about this? About the advanced features that people are used to from the solution manager world? Well, I'm not going to shy away from that. They're not here yet, right? And some of the advanced features, some of very complex features, might not even make it to SAP Cloud ALM, right? We really want to take our time and do what is meaningful and keep things as simple as possible. Of course, in the future, we will have customization. Of course, in the future, there will be ways for you to tweak the way you do application lifecycle management with SAP Cloud ALM. But for the time being, we go simple. We go simple, and we want to be efficient. Us as a development team and you as a customers consuming our solution. We also want to stick to the agile concepts. Testing as soon as possible, right? If you look at the agile, not even methodology, at the agile mindset, right? The testing is part of the development. And here, this is also what I want to be able to achieve with SAP Cloud ALM for our customers, for you, right? Enable you to test as soon as possible and also to test as fast as possible, again, without too much overhead. Then I also want us to, we don't break everything from the past. I mean, there are tons of good things in Solution Manager, right? And we want to make things simpler, but we also want to keep really what made the strength of Solution Manager. And this is, for instance, testing with a purpose, right? So the testing that we do should be either process or requirement oriented, right? So we really want to test with a purpose. You should be testing either a business process, or you should be testing if the implementation of a requirement is indeed, what is expected, right? We really want to stress the fact that you test something, you test with a purpose, or you test because something has changed, right? But you test always with a purpose. And we want also to bring you the traceability from the very start, All right, this overview about Cloud ALM. So we have the different topics here, the test management overall, which I'm strongly thinking about changing to test orchestration, because this is really what we do. So here you'll be able to do test scope management, execution monitoring, the sign off, and the reporting and auditing this is not there yet. The reporting starts to be there and the auditing not yet, but these are things that I'll definitely have on my mind and that we'll bring to you. We have, of course, the manual testing, which takes place in Cloud ALM, and we have our test automation framework. And the test automation framework is it's going to help us to do the bridge between Cloud ALM as a test management orchestration engine and cloud-based test automation providers. Well, here I say cloud-based, right? But if you want to integrate, a test automation provider, which is still in the on-premise world, but still wants to integrate with Cloud ALM, as long as they comply with our APIs, potentially they could do it, right? So I'm not being too strict about this, but the idea is to do it with cloud-based test automation software, right? And so far, what we have done is that we have integrated with the test automation tool for SAP S/4HANA Cloud. That's a real name. So that's a test automation tool which is embedded with S/4HANA Cloud, SAP S/4HANA Cloud, available as well to the SAP S/4HANA Cloud customers. So this one, the integration is already done. but I have more slides about this. I'll speak about that in a minute. And we also look at other third-party providers. And of course, you should all know that we've announced a partnership with Tricentis about 1 year ago. And this is on our roadmap to integrate with a new cloud-based product from Tricentis. Something which is also key for me, it's always been key, it was true even with Solution Manager, I had to fight this idea for years. Solution Manager is open to support all types of testing, cloud and on-premise, that doesn't make a difference, SAP and non-SAP as well, right? It's really something with Cloud ALM, and again, it is true with Solution Manager as well. We are open to testing everything, right? When we execute a manual testing, it doesn't matter if it's for an SAP system or a non-SAP system, right? You would agree with me easily on that one. And for an automated test case, thanks for a partnership that we have with Tricentis and the integration of other test automation providers, we will also be able to test non-SAP systems in an automated way. So again, here, keep that in mind. SAP and non-SAP, cloud and on-premise, no restrictions from the test management point of view on this one. All right. Manual test preparation, manual test case creation. I will show that to you really in the system. What is important is that we can base that on the processes. It's not a must. You can decide to create your test cases without, references to business processes. But again, this is what we strongly recommend. And when you do that, you will benefit from the content which is delivered within SAP Cloud ALM. Step-based approach, rich text support, and again, SAP and non-SAP. Requirement traceability. So this is something that we are working on in this quarter, right? This is non-binding statement, but we hope to be able to bring that to you before the end of the year. If not the end of the year, that will be very early in Q1 next year. It's a non-binding statement, subject to change whatsoever, but these are our plans as of today. And I'm really excited about this one because it's something that I demonstrated yesterday in Solution Manager, that we can achieve this full traceability all the way from the requirement to the test cases into the defect and deployment. And this is exactly what we want to build as well in Cloud ALM. And we're working heavily on that. The next one is Excel upload and download. I often say that Excel is at the same time my friend and my enemy because I work in Excel on a regular basis. It's a great tool, but also I know that some large projects manage their testing within Excel, and I think that's not right. Right, so we really want to make it easier for you to maintain the test cases by doing so in Excel. But we want, or we would like the testing itself to be managed, orchestrated from SAP Cloud ALM. All right. The planned innovations, the test execution will be managed within test plans. This is going to be for next year. We're not going to be able to deliver that this year. The test plan content will be based on requirements. This, as I said, that's also reality coming, and user stories as well. If we want to adhere to Agile, right, we want to be able to build test plans without you having to select test cases. Instead, you would select either requirements or user stories, and then the test cases which are linked to these entities would be part of the test plan directly. And of course, defects also planned for this quarter. It's very likely that this will, slide and shift a little bit into 2022, but still very early in the year. All right, let's go into the test automation concepts. So here, simple integration, evolutive, and do what you do best. It's simple, right? It's loss coupling. We only synchronize the necessary information. It's based on version REST API, so we plan to be able to support two at the same time. So one automation provider might be still on the N-1 version, and another test automation provider would be on the N version. We want to be able to support this, right? So that we also give more flexibility to our providers, and we don't refrain ourselves from innovating with the different partners. Right. And then the do what you do best is also something that's important for me. And here, this is also coming from the experience that we had in SAP Solution Manager. In SAP Solution Manager, the integration with the test automation tools in some areas, we were trying to do a bit too much. Right. And then it ended up being very, very complex for us and at times cumbersome in the way we manage some things, the test data. Right. And here, I want to have an approach which is much more clearly separated. Right, SAP Cloud ALM orchestrates in the sense that we will be able to integrate several test automation tools, potentially, if this is what you want to do. and provide you a global view on that. But also, we let the test automation tools also do what they are good at, and that's automation, managing maybe their own data, composing the test cases, right? So we want to have this separation so that we start simple and we keep a good pace of innovation. All right, here's the overall picture for the integration. So on the Cloud ALM side, we will find the main application lifecycle management entities, processes, requirements, user stories. I have to apologize to a colleague who is in the call. Also the features, which is a new entity coming up from from SAP Cloud ALM, will be there, right? And all these entities will be linked to manual test cases and automated test cases to guarantee the traceability. We have a test automation framework. As I said, it does the bridge with the test automation tool. Here, that's the example of the SAP S/4HANA Cloud test automation tool, and we'll bring only the necessary information, the overview of the test cases, the test results, and then navigation URLs to the real entities in the system, right? And I will demonstrate that to you in a minute. I will skip that because I'll demo that in the system. That's the flow of how we do things. At this time, the APIs that we have are purely outbound. So Cloud ALM will always query the test automation tool, which forces us to do some polling, which is not very optimal as a communication way. We will also put in place notifications in the future. But as I said, we start simple, we get things working, and then we will improve them. The APIs that we have published, I'm just going to go here. They are published in the SAP Business API Hub, so you can find these. I think I clicked, didn't I? I did click. Here we go. And you'll be able to find the APIs, the specifications in case you are interested. They will always contain, it's in the API specification. Come on. All right, I'll click on API reference then. You will find exactly what was in the presentation. And for instance, when you actually look at them, I documented, we put real examples in there. You also have examples on how the flow is supposed to go. If you have any partners who are interested, who might be interested in implementing these, the APIs are there, and then they can reach out to me and we can start discussions on this. So the test automation for SAP S/4HANA Cloud is already integrated. I have a blog that you can refer to if you want. Tricentis Cloud Automation is planned to be integrated in 2022. So here we're waiting for the Tricentis Cloud-based product to be available. We're working together with them, of course, for the APIs, for the provisioning. So we are well underway, but they have still to finish, not to finish, but continue developing that product and bring it to the market. And we have other providers who have shown interest in integrating with Cloud ALM. As I said, we have open APIs. We have a strong, very strong partnership with Tricentis, but we will not restrict ourselves to only one test automation provider, right? So there are others who are interested and who will be in the future integrated with Cloud ALM. All right, and now it's time to go into the system and go for the demo. And here I can see that there are already a few things in the chat. Somebody asking me to speak a bit slower. Oh, sorry, but I see only this now. I'm sorry about that. And you're right. I do speak fast. It's one of my big defects. I have some questions in the chat. So here, please feel free to put more questions in the chat, and I will answer them as we go. I will start this demo by the overview page, right? So in the analytics section, so that you can get an idea about where we are in the overview of a project. We have lots of cards which are available. All right, so now we are in the overview page. You can see that I have a card which is the one which I call test oriented, and this one is indeed only showing the test cards. For the, I don't need to switch to the global overview. In this demo, I'm going to be using a different scope than the sales. I'm going to work in the manufacturing. One. So I'm going to check this and uncheck this, and we can take a look at our project, right? We have test case preparation here and the test execution. So I can go into the test case preparation to get an overview of what we have and show you where we are. The first thing that I'm going to do, though, is that I'm going to add a new business process to the scope, to my current scope, so that I can demonstrate how the synchronization goes. Right, so here I'll switch to the automated test cases. And we can see that at this time we have BKP twice, J60 twice, 33, 1JW, and BD9. Okay, and now I will go back into the processes and I will scope a new process. All right, we have a new application for managing the scopes. So I will now go in here and, sorry, my mistake. I will now click on edit scope. It's this one here. All right, I will also filter on the scenario because given that I integrate with the SAP S/4HANA Cloud Test Automation tool, I'm going to need to synchronize based on one of these business processes, right? So I'm going to pick this one. That's still a lot of processes, and I'm going now to focus on a region. Our system is configured for Germany, so I will pick Germany here as well. And you can see here all the different processes which are currently not part of my scope manufacturing. All right, so I can add several. Let me see, and I need to find ones which have test cases. I'm surprised. No, BKP is scope, but not for Germany. All right, so I will go for different ones, and I need now to find a few which have automated test cases. So I know that I think that 19C has 33Q has, but it's already scoped. So I'm going to scope a bunch of business processes. Sorry, J78 as well. And let's pick one which I don't know about, right? Let's pick 4MT. Okay, now I'm done with my scoping. And now what I will do is that I will go back to the test preparation and let's see what has happened. All right, company manufacturing. And now I will switch again to the automated test cases. And we can see that now we have more automated test cases which have been synchronized. I can see that from the date here. So we have J78, which has been synchronized, 19C, which has been synchronized, right? And here, so that's the idea. As soon as something is added to the scope of a project, we check if there are corresponding automated test cases in the test automation provider tool, and if they are, we synchronize them. And this is valid here because the test automation tool for SAP S/4HANA Cloud has content, right? They bring content. When we have new tools like Tricentis, for example, they might not have content. In this case, we would just create the test cases directly from Cloud ALM. All right, so we can see that we have these test cases which have been synchronized. At this time, their preparation status is in progress, right? Because we just synchronized them. They are the standard test cases, and it's very likely that some adjustments need to be done on this, right? So this is why they are in status in preparation. So let's take one of the new ones, 19C, right? And here, if I click on 19C, for those of you who know the tool, we have introduced a new tab because we have functionality coming in, right? So, and we make it more uniform between harmonized between the automated test cases and manual test cases. We have here the navigation capabilities to the test automation tool. So as soon as I click here, I'm going to jump into the test automation tool to proceed with the authoring, the management of my test case. And as I said, this is the clear separation of duties, right? When I'm here, when I'm in Cloud ALM, I get the overview. I can see if my test case is prepared so that I can execute it or not. Right? But if I have to do maintenance for the data, for the test automated, for the automated test case itself, I will do that in the test automation tool directly. All right, so we can find here our new test case. We can see the variants. What I can do here, for instance, is to create a new variant, right? So I'm going to create a new variant in the tool. I'm going to give it a name, ALM Summit. Oops, I need to click first, right? ALM Summit 2021, and I can give it the same name, the same description. Here, I need to change something, right? So I'm very likely to, I'm very likely going to trash something. So I can change, for instance, a random number. Instead of 10,000, I can say only this, right? So now I can save my variant. So the variant has been saved. If I go back to the overview, I will see now that there are two variants. I will close this now. And if I go back to Cloud ALM, navigate back to the test preparation, I can now synchronize again, the new variant. We plan to do this in the background in the future, but for the time being, we still have to push this. And what we can see is that for 19C, my variant here has appeared. And potentially what I would do now is that I say, all right, if I had done the real work of preparing the variant, make sure the test automation tool runs, I could now change the status of this test case into update not allowed for specific field. Oh, well, I had to had a bug or a small issue in the demo. All right, cannot do it. Okay, so that's a demo effect. And these are the new editors which are not released yet. So I guess I found a little bug. That doesn't matter for the demo. That shouldn't be an issue for today because I have tests which are released. So I'm going to be able to execute these ones. All right, so this is the flow. As soon as something is added to the scope, I can synchronize it to form the test automation tool, maintain it, and then later on publish it for automation. Now let's go into the creation of a manual test case. So ELM Summit 2021 demo. All right, and here at the moment we still need to select a scope, right? This is mandatory. So I will still, but we're looking in changing that. Right, so it's very likely that the scope attribute will no longer be mandatory. So here, you could decide to create with or without a solution process. That's what I mentioned to you earlier. We don't have to create a test case for a process anymore, right? So here I will say no process, okay? And now I will save it. And here what we can see is that my test case is pretty much going to be empty. Right, because the structure comes from the business process content that we have in Cloud ALM. That doesn't matter. I can still go ahead and add some actions, right? Log on to the application, right? So that's not a showstopper. You can still go ahead and do what you got to do. You can put also a URL. I will just put sap.com here. All right, and this is done. Right, so and now I can save my test case and I can go to the content and I can here do more things, right? So I've got another bug here. That's bug time today. All right, so this I could do. What we could do also from here would be to download the test case and re-upload it. So now I'm just going to download my test case, just to demonstrate to you also the capabilities that we have in the download and upload. All right, and here we can maintain the test case here directly. And it's something that I expect that lots of customers will do, right? Because it's indeed much faster to do it here. And I would just give you an example. So I'm going to have action 1, instructions 1, and results 1. Okay, and here, thanks to Excel, I'm just going to do this and do it this way. All right, and then this is for my first activity. I can also create an activity, right? So log on to application, execute some actions, right? I could also provide a URL. That's something that I could do here. I'm not going to do it. And here, again, I can also just take this and maintain it this way. All right, I'm just saving my test case, and now I can re-upload it to Cloud ALM. And it's in the downloads. No process, that's the one. Just going to take it, upload it. All right, we can see now that now we have 2 activities. And if I go to the content, everything has been made, right? So very efficient way for you to do things. There are some restrictions. I have a blog, it's published. I explain what you can do and cannot do. At the moment, right in here, we could maintain rich text, right? So for this, for instance, I could just take a stupid screenshot from here, right? It doesn't make sense, but I'll still do it, right? And I say in the expected result, I need to click, should look like this, right? Control V, it's there, I'm happy. Okay, but here we have a challenge that at the moment we store this image information really as part of a text field. So now if I download it to Excel, I will have this image encoded in Excel, right? So it's not very maintainable. We're going to have an external image service, which allows exactly as it's done in Jira and GitHub to reference the image, which is stored in different location. So that means that you will be able to maintain test cases which contain images also from Excel, but it's something that we cannot do at this time. It will be for 2022. All right, and I can see that my test case is prepared. I'm happy and all good. All right, so let's go back to the test preparation and see what we have. And I'm just going to highlight the difference now if I create another test case, which is ALM Summit demo, and this is going to be with process, just to demonstrate to you what's the difference. So I'm dealing with manufacturing, so I go into manufacturing. This time I select a solution process, and here I can pick any one that I want. I'm just going to pick 4MT because I don't know it. And then we take a look at the diagrams, right? And we have two potential diagram flows and one for non-SAP system. I told you we can support non-SAP. And this time when I save my test case, the difference is that we will find coming from solution documentation in the structure, all the activities that are documented within this test case. I picked a nice one, it's a big one. These activities here can be rearranged, right, according to the real flow that you want to have by using drag and drop, and then you would just scope them and save them, right? And here is the structure. And what we intend to do is that for those of you who know it, these processes, they are documented in Cloud, in the Best Practice Explorer. We have what we call test scripts and test procedures, which is documentation on how these actions, these activities should be tested. And we have also the intention to bring that here. So that means that if you, in the future, if you select a test case which relies on the content, you would get the activities as you do today in the structure, but you will also get in here the default content that you can of course change and adjust, but all your test cases wouldn't be empty. So that's going to be a big step moving forward. All right, and I need to save now that I've changed the status. Okay, let's go back to the testing preparation. And we're going to find here the new test cases that we've just created. Let's take a look at the manual ones. We find here this no process and with process both enabled for testing. We can see that here we don't have any solution process. If we take a look at the overview page, and here there's something, it's my fault, right? I created a default card, but I hard-coded the scope in there. So it's my fault that we are back on company sales, right? So I'm going to switch back to manufacturing, and I'm going to take out sales so that we can see what is the status currently. And we can see that we have more test cases which are in preparation state because I synchronized them from the test automation tool and I didn't change their status, but we have now more test cases which are available. And we have here the overview for the execution. We have 3 which are in status initial, 3 in progress, and 1 failed. I will now go into the test execution just to show you how it works. First thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to kick off an automated test case. So for instance, this one, the sell from stock BD9 was failed. First of all, when I click this guy, we're going to see the history of execution. And something which is very important is that we also get the executions when it's done outside of Cloud ALM, so that we have a consistent view, right? So that we don't have any what I didn't want is to have the test case rating red in Cloud ALM and green in the test automation tool, or even worse, the other way around, thinking that in Cloud ALM, everything is cool, we're green, and in fact, the test is failing on the system, right? So I really want to have a consistent view. So I'm going to kick off BD9 again. This takes a time because actually the system performs some pre-checks. And it's actually the S4HANA system which does that. If we have time, I can demonstrate that to you on the system. Oh, I should stop talking. I should stop talking so that we can go into a Q&A, right? So we're going to execute and it will be exactly the same thing in the test automation tool. These are pre-checks to see if the test case can indeed be executed. It checks if there are prerequisites, it checks if the user has all the necessary roles to execute the test case before actually kicking it off. So let's be patient. I will take a look in the chat. Ah, Mr. Hescher, you're right. Right, if I look at the question answers, we now have 3. All right, definitely taking a bit of time. I guess it's Friday afternoon also for the system, and we can see that this one is now in progress. I can take the test case that we created, and I can also the manual, I can start the execution. And here, you know how it goes, right? I can set a status to pass. I can set a status to something else, say that this is an application issue, and enter some reasons here. Right? If I save this, we don't have a defect yet. So all the statuses that you see here correspond to the different personas who are supposed to be processing the test run, right? So now that I'm in the application issue, if I go back to the test execution, excuse me, I close this one, we can also filter on the detailed status. For instance, a developer would filter on the application issue, right? So that he or she could concentrate on what needs to be fixed. If I'm a tester, I would filter on the ones which have no status or which have the status fail retest required, right? So I'm going to filter on pass with conditions, and fail retest required, right? So now I can see what is left on my plate. And this one is currently pass, so I can resume it. We also have some, I want to continue with the current test run. We're bringing the version concept little by little. So the pop-up just told me that a newer version of the test case is available. Do I want to continue executing on this version, or do I want to switch to the other one? And here I just said I wanted to switch to to continue with the old one so that I don't lose my progress. I'm going to set everything to pass, and I'm going to save and close my test run. Closing the test run actually changes the status. Now the status is final. I cannot change it anymore unless I want to start a new test run. Let's take a look now in the overview page. And I didn't leave in time for question and answers. I'm sorry, I get too excited talking about that. We can see that the execution status changed. We have now 3 which are in progress, some which are failed, and 2 which are passed, the one that I just completed. We can also go into the analytics, and there are 2 more things that I want to show to you. We have the test execution analysis, right, which shows you a history. And again, sorry about that, I hard-coded the wrong scope. Here, I'll go into the manufacturing for which we've been working. And we have here the chart types. You can also switch. And for instance, if you want to go for the classical line chart, you can do so. There's something that I really like is that we have really filters, not filters, but time range selectors, which are very flexible. So I can get the last 30 days and see how my testing has been going, right? I can also exclude the scope and get, for my complete project, how is the testing evolving? You can choose the bar chart that you want, stacked column chart if you want it. And here, something which is very important is that you can also go for the table view. And here with the table view, you got the Excel download, right? I know, told you, Excel is my friend and my enemy. And I know that even myself, I would manipulate the data in Excel when I need to look at them. So this is also available. And the last thing that I will demonstrate to you here is indeed, if we go back to the analysis, we are working on the traceability. I don't think I clicked it. So let me hit the back button. We have now the requirement traceability in which test cases don't appear yet, but again, we plan to have that by the end of the year. And we have a process traceability in which you will find based on business processes. And I will now select my scope again, manufacturing. Well, it doesn't matter, I can keep everything here. And we will see the requirements. So we can get a view on the requirements in specification, in realization. We can jump to the requirement overview, and we will see for this process also what are the test cases. So we have 2 in preparation, 1 which is prepared. We can jump into the test case overview, and we also get the test execution status. And we can see that here we have this one which is in progress, and I could now jump into the test execution overview to take a look at this one and actually do what needs to be done. That's the one that I just started. I can refresh its status. we should say, it failed. Now it's the automated test case, and I could, of course, now I get a new log, and I could jump in the tool and check what's happening here, right? All good. Sorry, I was too long. I mean, I didn't get my word. Now it's time for me to go into the questions and answers. So let's take a look at them. Regarding manual test cases creation, is it planned to get the integration with SAP enabled now, as there exists for solution manager? The idea would be to record the process step execution by using SAP enabled now, and then automatically export the recording as manual test case into SAP Cloud ALM. That's a very good point. I'm thinking about it, definitely. At the moment, I'm more focusing on getting the content from the best practice from SAP internally, so that we can create test cases already with the content coming from the best practice. So very good point. I have it on my radar. It's not planned for this quarter or the next quarter, but I'll look at it for next year. Comparing test tool as a standalone function, what is the benefit of going SAP test management integrated into Tricentis, incl or Solomon versus going Tricentis test management only? Well, Charlotte already clicked, so I'm going to answer that live. I think I mentioned that we're going to provide you more. We're going to provide you with test orchestration. So let's say that even if we integrate with Tricentis, the test automation tool for SAP S/4HANA provides content. So if you're working on S/4HANA Cloud, you have strong interest using this one because it's going to provide content to you, which gets updated with every release. And then if you have success factors, you might want to take Tricentis to work with it. And then you would have to put these two together. Well, Cloud ALM does that for you. We would integrate with the test automation tool for SAP S/4HANA, integrate with Tricentis, and also provide you the manual test cases, so that you get one view unified into Cloud ALM, one global view on your manual testing and all type of automating testing that you might have, right? So, and also, I mean, I'm partnering with Tricentis, but in terms of test management, the solutions SAP Enterprise Continuous Testing doesn't really provide enough in terms of test management, right? There's no manual testing. It's great for automation, but it's really with doing the integration with Cloud ALM and also getting the business process content, getting the requirements from SAP Cloud ALM, that you get the full benefit of it. Okay, you mentioned that Tricentis test automation integration with SAP Cloud ALM, like S1 version, will be available during Q 2022. Do you have further clarification when it will be available? No, at this time, no, I cannot commit. I cannot commit. We initially had the plan of Q1 2022, but the development is getting delayed. So I cannot give you plans. I mean, I'm really have strong hopes that it will be in 2022. It's very likely going to be the second part of the year, though. But again, I cannot commit. We have to align our roadmaps. We are in intense discussion, and we have a really solid and sound partnership, right? So, Tricentis is going through the same, challenges that we faced, going from the on-premise development with SAP Solution Manager to the cloud-based development in SAP Cloud ALM. Lots of tools changing, lots of processes changing. It's also a mindset approach, right? To really, you change a lot of things, right? And it's really, it brings great value. But at some stage, there is a period for Cloud ALM where we're not delivering much, right? Because there was this ramp-up period where we need to get all up to speed, both in terms of tooling, processes, and also mindset. So Tricentis is going pretty much through the same challenges as we did with the early stages of the cloud development, and I'm sure that we will get there, right? Next question, can you maybe say something on how test plan assignment for testers might be done? We know how it's done in Solution Manager. Very good question. Thanks for that. I intend to make it simpler. So for the time being, you can see that there is no tester assignment, right? It's on purpose. It's on purpose. It was requested by several customers already. I was not 100% convinced that we needed it. I'm thinking about Scrum, Agile, where somebody comes up and picks up Post-it and say, all right, I'm going to work on it. I expected that we could do the same thing for testing. But I see that things are still, seen in a different way. So yes, I will work on tester assignment. It's with my dev manager, we maintain what we call the idea box. It's in there. It's in there. Not too sure how I'm going to do it already. And when we're going to have test plans, in my first versions of the test plans, I don't have tester assignment either, right? So the test cases are going to be available and ready to be tested. And then, whoever wants can pick them up. I know that at some stage I have to do something on this concept, but at moments, I really want to keep that simple, and I don't want to make it too heavy. So at the moment, there's no tester assignment, but I'm definitely thinking about it. Now that you mention it, we are organizing for the UK and Ireland user group, SAP user group. We are organizing an accessibility testing on usability testing, on the test plan management, right? So we have a clickable mockup that we demonstrate there. We already did that with DSAG, and we're going to do it with the UK and Ireland SAP user group. It's going to be early December. So if anyone is interested in registering, please go ahead, right? If you don't have the links, well, the links are not available yet because it's not published yet, but if you're interested, then reach out to me at some stage and I will pass this information on to you so that you can provide early feedback on the test plan management features. That'd be very, very appreciated. It's a win-win for you and for us. No open questions anymore. I'm sorry that I took a bit longer. Is there somebody who wants to ask a question live? Is there anybody who wants to be unmuted? Please just let me know, feel free. I know it's the last session before the end, but yeah, let's make the best out of it. If anyone wants to ask one last question, please go for it. Or if anyone already wants to go on weekend, please go for it as well. That's fine with me. Anything more?
Thank you so much, Nicola. Much appreciated. I think a very passionate session as always, and also a wonderful set of questions. In fact, one feedback as well from Ricardo, I think on error message, which could potentially have the why of one is not allowed. And I think that's a good one. So thank you so much for all of that. I would just quickly share one last slide. I mean, just in case there is one more session. We have the farewell for the EMEA summit, which would happen just in about 10 minutes. So feel free to attend that. I mean, it's going to be fun. You're going to have some Menti exchange. So Mentimeter is going to be there to keep you engaged, and also you'll get some insights. So thank you for attending our session. I hope you had a good time. I mean, especially the one that we have just had now with Nicola. It was pretty exciting to see all the new features coming out and all the exciting things that are lined up for the next year as well. So with that, maybe I will.
Sharat. Sorry, before you close, I realized that I didn't finish the slide. So for the participants, just one last thing, right? There are, if we go back to the slides really quickly, there are questions and answers. There's a book, and a friend of mine would kill me if I didn't, advertise for the book. So Jack Mohan, Wolf, and myself writing a book on how to use Cloud ALM for implementations. We're putting lots of ideas in there. So if any one of you are interested, it's going to be an e-bite. It's only 100 pages. So, who knows, that might be of interest for you. Also, get the presentation. There are lots of resources at the end. Cloud ALM videos, OpenSAP courses, a hell lot of links to Cloud ALM videos and all further information. So very, very valuable information still in the presentation. So feel free to take a look at it. Sharat, sorry about that. Back to you.
No, I think that's important, especially the book coming out. I think that's an exciting news again. It's a lot of good stuff, a lot of goodies there. So as always, I think a lot of information. I'm sure the material is available already through the event app. So feel free to have a look at it. And then we will see you in the closure at the farewell. So thank you so much, Nicola, and all the participants.